Meter review time. Hey, we're on a roll, so why not? Today in the spotlight, we have the all-new HYTALS TS98. Yeah, this is a digital multimeter out of Asia, and it's actually not a bad meter. We're going to give it the thorough check, breakdown, teardown, you name it. Stay tuned, coming up. The HYTALS TS98A digital multimeter is a 4,000 count DMM. And this guy, it's not really the most popular meter out there. It was rather hard to find initially. It took a long time to ship. Now, like I said before, we are experiencing major postal disruptions here in Canada, courtesy of Canada Post. So I've got a lot of stuff that should be here months ago and it still hasn't arrived. But thankfully, this is one that trickled through and I'm really happy it did. Now, first off, we're going to take a look at the chassis or the body of this meter. And you know what? I like it. I really like it. This is a cheap meter, guys. I'm talking like 12 bucks Canadian, 10 bucks US. Yeah, no word of a lie. That's what I paid for this meter. It is rock solid. If I put it up here beside the Unity, you can see it is slightly larger, maybe by about a ½ inch. And if we look at the body, it's probably a good ½ inch thicker as well. But you know what? It really holds nice in the hand. It has a very, very nice nubile feel to it, and I just like the way it feels. It has that rubber boot implementation I like, you know, I really like it. Now, if you look at this at first, it almost looks like a fluke, you know, if this was a different color, obviously, but it has that kind of fluke look to it. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't think so. And another thing I like is the standing bail. Look at that, huh? It doesn't flip around. Well, it doesn't flip around. No, it doesn't. But no, it's good, solid, nice feel to it. Here in the back, that's for the battery compartment we'll take a look at shortly. Just generally decent quality. I mean, I cannot believe that this is in my cheapo meter reviews. That's the state we're at right now with multimeters, and I gotta say, I freaking love it. Yeah, I mean, these things are getting dirt cheap and you're getting some pretty damn good quality. What else do you get with the meter? You get a couple of leads, and once again, these are not all cheap crap leads. No, these leads are not too darn bad. And another thing I like about HYTALS, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. You know, when I first got this meter, I thought it was HYTAS, T-A-I-S. But then I overheard somebody saying it's HYTALS. So HYTAS, I'm gonna call it HYTALS for the sake of this damn review. But that being said, back to the leads. On it, they are printed 1000 volts max. Now, there is not a current amp rating, but they do say Cat 2. So they're not trying to stretch anything in terms of safety. No, they're basically telling you that this is a Cat 2 lead. And you know what? Yeah, that's believable. They feel good. They're a good size lead. They're not too small. They're not too big. Yeah, I think they're good quality. I mean, for a freaking cheap multimeter, I got no complaints. The actual thickness of the wire, the gauge, very good, no complaints. And they are actually stamped with a gauge rating. And I don't know if I can read that. It's pretty tiny, it's upside down. And we have a gauge of 16 AWG, 600 volt. So, wow. You know, not too often for a cheap set of leads and a cheap meter, you actually get, you know, ratings on the gauge wire itself. So, good stuff. I'm impressed. So, yeah, I'm excited. This is, for a cheap meter, I'm already excited. Now, if you look a little bit further at the meter, what do you see? It's non-auto ranging. That's right. So, if you're an auto ranging fanboy, this meter's not for you. But hey, doesn't always have to be auto ranging, right? You know, and honestly, I am not, depends on the job, but if I have something on the bench, you know, it doesn't matter to me if it's auto or non-auto. I'm good either way. I just want something that works and works well. Turn it on, it's got a nice selector switch. Listen to that. And what do you notice? that click. It's got a really nice, solid, thorough click through. It sounds great. First off, yeah, that rotary knob, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. What do you see up the top? That's it, 100 millifarad. Hoorah! Yep, this guy can go up to 100,000 microfarads. If you're a cap fan like me, ooh, you're in cap heaven. Going to the left, we have an ohms rating of 40 mega ohm max. Bring it down here, we have continuity diode. Below that, we have frequency. Underneath that is non-contact voltage, also known as NCV. And then we're down to our microamps. 400 milliamps, 20 amp current rating. That's on the DC scale. On the AC scale, we have a maximum of 20 amps as well. Voltage AC up to 750 volts, and DC up to 1000 volts. Near the end, we have the HFE, or the transistor testing, and back to the off switch. So yeah, generally speaking, you know, pretty good set of ranges. I mean, that 100 millifarad, awesome. Too bad the resistance range wasn't 100 as well, but hey, I can live with that. Now you have a backlight. As you can see, hold down, there is Mr. Backlight coming on. And you will notice you also have that nice bar graph at the bottom. Now, if you want to turn off the auto shut off, simply hold down on the select button, turn the meter on, and nothing happens because I did it the wrong way. Let's try that again. You want to turn the auto power off, hold down on the hold button. Hear those beeps? That's it. The auto off automatically disengages, and now your meter will not shut off. Thank you, meter. Once again, not bad for a cheap meter. And of course, true RMS. Now, I don't always go crazy and go on and on about true RMS because really, you know, how important is true RMS at the end of the day? Unless you have some really finite work, it's not really that important. So, yeah. I don't probably go in depth with the TRMS features as much as some other reviewers. But that being said, you know, almost every meter coming out now is true RMS. So if it's something that you think you need or you actually really do need, hey, HYTALS has you covered. Finally, we look at the top here, we have the NP and PNP. This is the transistor HFE testing, and we will try that out as well. Something else I like about this on multimeters, you have a separate milliamp jack here at the bottom. So it's not shared with the voltage jack. Always, always nice to see separate inputs for the milliamp. Okay, we're gonna start some tests. I'm gonna put him up against his rival Unity. Hey, you wanna fight? You wanna fight? I'm talking to you. Stay tuned, guys. Coming right up. Okay, here we are all lined up, ready for action. Unity on the left. HYTALS on the right, and we're starting off at 2.8 volts. How high can you go? Here we go. 4.4 volts, 4.5 on the Unity, 4.51 on the HYTALS. Actually, they're both 4.5. Okay, they can call me a liar. Now they are. Pretty close. Taking it up all the way to 7.9 volts. Showing is 8.01 on the Unity, 7.9. Spot on for the HYTALS. Up, up, and away we go. 15.6 volts according to the DC power supply, 15.79, 15.74, so they are really super close. Taking it up to 25 volts, 25.2 on the power supply, 25.42, 25.37 on the HYTALS. And maxing it out now just under 32 volts, 31.8 according to the DC power supply. You can see we have the high voltage indicator showing up on the Unity, 32.01 volts. And on the HYTALS, no high voltage indicator, and we're showing as 31.94. And once again, the power supply says 31.8. So good job, guys. Yeah, I say that was pretty well a draw, super close. I do like the fact Unity has the high voltage indicator. Yeah, it's not super high voltage, but really nice to see that pop up. I wish there was some sort of a icon indicator on the HYTALS, but there isn't. But hey, spot on in terms of voltage. Good job. Just as a little added bonus, I thought we would put the HYTALS up against a MetroHit 2 Plus. And here we go. So we're at 15 volts right now. And we will bring it up 26 volts, 26.58 versus 26.56 for the Metro hit. We'll max it out right now at 31.4 on the DC power supply, and we're showing 31.57 on the HYTALS, 31.55 on the Metro hit. And as you can see, yeah, I mean, we're comparing a $12 meter to a $300 meter. If we look at the bar graph, because they both have that bar graph display at the bottom, how are they in terms of refreshing? And let's see. So we're going up and down, oscillating that voltage. So definitely the Metro hit is more responsive, but the HYTALS is not that far behind. Up next, it's continuity time. Yeah. Okay, continuity. Here we go. These are the default test leads. And survey says so there's definitely some lag. That's too bad. It's latched, but there is lag. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to put on some good quality leads just to make sure it's not a leads thing. Okay, I have the probe masters in my hands, and here we go. Was it the leads that causing that delay, or is it the meter? Only one way to find out. Probe masters, it's all yours. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-bum-bum. Yeah, so there you go, folks. Leads are shite for continuity. Put on a better set of leads like probe masters, or just a good set of cheap leads that are good at continuity, and booyah. Okay, it's diode testing time. We have these little guys ready to rock and roll. Here we go. First one, yep, 1.8 forward voltage drop. Second LED yellow is lit up, 1.8 is the forward voltage drop. Third LED, it is lit, 1.8 showing as the forward voltage drop. The white LED yet, it is also coming up, 2.5 is the forward voltage drop, and she is bright. Finally, Mr. Blue, there you go, 2.5, 5 for 5 in the LED testing with the forward voltage drop indication. So lights them up, gives you the reference on that voltage, 5 out of 5. And as you can see, we have 3.2 volts coming out of the HYTALS for the diode testing, so plenty of juice to light up most LEDs. Next, it's capacitance time. We have an awesome 100 millifarad, so let's try it out. Yeah, that's right, guys. Look at that. Finally came in 100,000 microfarad, so we'll be able to put this baby to the test. But let's do baby steps. Let's start slow and low. Gonna hook it up and we'll see. Starting off with 10,000 microfarad. And let's put it on microfarad. That always helps. There we are on the millifarad range. Currently we're at 10,000 millifarad. And I might just have to disconnect and reconnect. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Get the clip on. It's thinking. Now I do like, we do have a visual on this, so it's telling us that it is looking. It's showing up as MF, and there we are, 9.6 millifarad, so spot on. Let's take it up to the next one. Now this is kind of funny, eh? 47,000 microfarad, or 47 millifarad. Look at that, it's almost twice the size as the one that's 100,000 microfarad. Anyway, here we go. Gonna measure. Get the polarity right. This is 47,000 microfarad. Here we go. It's thinking. It's thinking. It's in the millifarad range. There we are, 43. Good job. Right on. And that didn't take long at all. So, okay, guys, the moment of truth, the moment we've all been waiting for, 100,000 microfarad. There we go. I am going to put it on. I'll start off with the negative lead. And actually, I've ended up picking this capacitor out from Melser.com. Now, I live in Canada. It was the first time I've ever dealt with Melser. And I got to tell you, folks, if you're Canadian, you need some components, check out Melser.com. Believe you me, I'm not paid to say this. I had great experience and super fast. I had this the next day. I've been waiting for something from China for 3 months. I got this in 24 hours. Thank you, Melser.com. Good stuff. Okay, here we go, 100,000 microfarad. It's thinking. It's thinking. Is it going to hit it? Is that range really going to work? Or is it there just for show? Here we go, folks. Here we go. Oh, it's in the millifarad range now. Taking a little longer because this is one big cap, and there it is, 97.02 millifarad. 97,000 microfarad. Hoorah! Good job. It works. I'm impressed. Hey, for a cheap $10, $12 meter, what else can you ask for? This is a little device, pretty neat. It's a PCB holder. I will be doing a separate review on this shortly. I just wanted to take the diode mode up another notch, and let's just actually look at some diodes here on this old meter PCB. And yeah, there we go, 0.6, so we know this one is good. This is a transistor, and here we are again, N.6, so we know these two transistors are good. But once again, what I'm showing you here is the probes that come with this. They're actually pretty decent. I'm actually quite impressed with these probes. You know, I don't have super big hands, but they're not tiny hands either. But I mean, these just feel good in the hand. They're fairly pointy at the tips, and you know, when you're doing SMD components and you're testing a circuit like I am right now, you can see that you know, they just work really well. So yeah, really impressed with the probes that ship with this this HYTALS. Okay, we're now at the AC mode, and we're checking the household current, and 121 volts. So yeah, no issues there. Good stuff. Okay, we're now in frequency mode, and there we are, 60 hertz. And if we hit the select button, 50% duty cycle. Good stuff. Hey, I'm liking this cheap meter, guys. I am very impressed. Next, we're going to try the non-contact voltage detection mode. So I have a power bar, obviously live. We are in EF mode, as you can see, and there you go. So no issues there. The F mode actually works pretty decent. Good stuff. Another neat feature with the HYTALS TS98A is the fact that on the back, you do have your probe holders. Now, don't forget, this is a cheapo meter. This is the El Cheapo meter review, guys. You know, it's easy to forget that. Like, this is impressive. Look with these probe holders. Now, this is something I found out on here that you don't even see in some meters that cost hundreds of dollars. Now, depending how you put your probes in, you know, you can do it this way. If I can get them in there. It's the first time, so it's a little tight. So you can do that, or some people like to have them up on the top. You know, whatever it is, whatever you prefer. But the nice thing, and this is something you don't see too often, not even on expensive meters, is look at this. You pull out the standing bail, and that's right. You can actually utilize it with those probes attached. You know, there is no sort of friction, or they don't get in the way of that tilting bail. So some engineer somewhere in China was using his head. Good job. I like what I see. So we're going to take this puppy apart in the next segment, and we're going to take a good look inside and see just how good the input protection and the overall build quality of the PCB is. Stay tuned. Taking a look at the inside of the HYTALS TS98, we're going to start off with the input jacks themselves. And as we can see, they are of the split variety. No worries here. They do go right through the PCB, and the soldering on top seems to be pretty good. They are going into a plastic housing, which we'll look at shortly. So there's lots of support for the probes being pulled in and out, and I just don't see any issues as far as the input jacks are concerned. Moving into the milliamp mode, what do you notice? Yeah, we do not have your typical fuse. What we have here is a polymeric PPTC fuse, polymeric positive temperature coefficient. These are sometimes used in lieu of your standard glass fuse. And the neat thing about these is the fact that a PTC fuse, what happens is they have a certain behavior. So when the current becomes too high, the fuse heats up and it increases the resistance. Basically it becomes an open circuit. The fuse itself does not get damaged. And when the high current is removed, the resettable fuse will cool eventually, and it goes back to its normal state of low resistance. So it's pretty cool, especially for the milliamp range. It makes a lot of sense. You know how many times you can change your fuse. You know, if you're going to blow a fuse, chances are it's going to be in the milliamp range. Well, by incorporating one of these PTC style fuses, poly fuses or poly switches, whatever you want to call them, you're really never going to have to change a fuse. So good stuff, good engineering move, I think. And yeah, HYTALS, I'm happy to see that in lieu of your standard fuse on the milliamp range. And as well, if we move up the trace, we follow that trace here, brings us over here, and this is a rectifying diode. Now this is still on the milliamp range. And beneath that, also on the milliamp range, we have a nice big diode here. This is a transient voltage suppressing diode. And those are pretty cool as well because, you know, a rectifier diode, okay, it's going to let the current flow in one direction. It handles current flow, what have you. But sometimes that's not enough. And that's when the transient voltage suppressing diode, this big beast right here, comes into play. What that does is that will instantly clamp any sort of transient voltage or, you know, any sort of ESD event that might happen. It'll clamp it to a safe level so it doesn't blow your meter. And you know, yeah, you can use your typical, let's call it a Zener diode for this type of transient protection, but they're not really designed for that. They're more for rectification, voltage regulation, what have you. If you want something that's robust, something that's really going to suppress that transient, you want to have a transient voltage suppressing diode like HYTALS has implemented. So once again, you know, this is a cheap multimeter, guys, and they have really done their homework here. So kudos HYTALS for putting all of this input protection on that milliamp range. If we move into the current range, we have, and I verified it is a ceramic 20 amp PTC fuse. I'm sorry, not a PTC fuse, a 20 amp ceramic fuse on the current trace right here. Now, you also have a current shunt. It's a small one. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit bigger, even with some resistant soldering embedded on it, but at least there is a current shunt. And as well, on the same current range, we have, if you can see them here, two resistors. One is a 1 ohm and the other is a 100 ohm, and they are in series. So this is all helping control the current flow protection. So, you know, yeah, I like it. I like the fact that HYTALS maybe does something a little bit different, but they're definitely thinking of the end user, and I'm impressed. What can I say? Let's move up the board a little bit here. We're gonna go up, up and away, and what do we see? We see another PTC. Yeah. Now this PTC, I am not sure. It is not controlling the milliamp. It is not on the current. I'm not sure what this PTC is doing right here, folks. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. It's very unusual to see a PTC this high up on the PCB, but let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. Now, we're going to carry this through a little bit higher, and what do you see? We see two comped ICs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. here, if you look at this little, I don't know if we can focus in on that one or not. Probably not going to be able to see it, guys. I'm sorry. But that is your T24C02A. And this is a 2 kilobyte EEPROM. It's going to store all the config file for the main IC, which is this guy here. So what does that tell us? Yeah, chances are if we see one of these T24s here, then this is probably that DreamTech International DTM 0660 IC. Awesome integrated circuit, the brains of the meter, and very, very popular now. You're seeing this IC more and more on these, well, yeah, cheap multimeters, and I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Now, it does get interesting here because the DTM 0660 IC does support AC rectifier. So this is capable of true RMS. It has AC rectification built in. No external components are required. So I'm a little unsure as to what this other cob here is. Now this could be a separate dedicated true RMS chip. That would be neat, you know? To have a separate IC dedicated to TRMS is pretty cool. Why they would do that when you already have that embedded into the DreamTech, once again, I'm not sure. As always, I have emailed this manufacturer, fairly new manufacturer. They do actually have a website, not a whole lot of details online, but I'm trying to get more details as to what this hidden cob number 2 is. So is that a dedicated TRMS converter? Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll hear back from them and I'll have more details for you. Something as well, if we follow that trace down here, if you can see that, it's sort of hidden, but right there is a voltage regulator. Now this voltage regulator does come right up into these IC traces here. So there is some voltage regulation happening. So yeah, I'm going to hasten to guess. I'm going to say that is a separate, unique TRMS converter, but I cannot say for sure. What else do we have on board? Well, we have our little speaker, piezo, whatever you want to call it, right here. Good quality, much better than those El Crapo little plastic ones you see. They look like little mini UFOs. Oh my God, those things are horrible sounding. And they take up a lot of PCB real estate as well. Well, this is not the case with HYTALS. They actually put in a normal, good quality speaker. At the top as well, I will just zoom back a little bit for you. Here we have our NCV detection. Now there's different implementations on this. Some companies prefer to have a separate wire, just a standard little thin gauge wire. Others actually have a filament attached to the PCB that comes out. In this case, HYTALS opted for a built-in integrated into the PCB filament, and it is what is handling all the NCV. So it acts like an antenna. And in this case, the implementation seems to work okay. The date of manufacture on this PCB is 2017, October 20th. So it is a fairly decent revision. And as well as you can see here, it says TS98A version 8. So they've done a lot of revs on this PCB, and this is number 8. Generally speaking, I like what I see. It is clean. It is sort of unique in terms of the input protection. They've definitely gone the extra mile. They have thought things out. And if this is actually a dedicated separate TRMS converter chip, that's even more cool. Here we are with the other side of the chassis itself. And we'll start off with this side here. As you can see, there is no shielding. Well, that's too bad. Something because, damn it, I'm impressed, you know? I'm impressed with this meter, I gotta say. Was not expecting all these little nuances in an El Cheapo multimeter. But that would have been the icing on the cake here to see some shielding going on. But you know what? That's okay. Well, it's not, but hey. Here we have a 9-volt battery holder. This is the compartment here. As you can see, we've got the two protrusions that will make contact with the PCB to feed the meter itself, that 9 volts. And on the other side here, we have our rotary selector switch, which sounds fantastic. These are the input jack caps embedded, like I was saying, because it is the split type variety. It does give the input holders extra support, and all is well. We have our little rubber buttons here that for the hold and the select, and of course the LCD display here. And here is the venerable zebra strip. This is what makes contact with the PCB to feed the segments, so we actually have a visual. And generally speaking, that is it. Now, unfortunately, yeah, they are not steel or metal threaded inserts. It's just plastic. Another small feature that would have been really good to see. Metal inserts for the chassis itself, but they're not there. There it is, folks. After this, I'm going to come back with a final thought on the HYTALS. Stay tuned. Final thoughts on the HYTALS TS98 multimeter. I really like it. Yeah, this is a great multimeter. Does a lot of stuff, does a lot of things well. Yes, it is non-auto ranging, so that might be problematic for some folks. But if it doesn't bother you, go out and grab them while you can. They are sort of hard to source, but if you see one, get it. Like I said, I paid about 12 bucks for this thing. I was looking online. They have gone up around $16, $18 Canadian. Maybe it's just because it's hard to find, I'm not sure. But it is certainly worth the money. You saw the insides. HYTALS actually gave a damn when they put this thing together. And they've got some pretty innovative little features in there for input protection. Yeah, it doesn't ship with some big, huge HRC fuse, but come on, guys. Fuse costs more than this meter. All in all, this is a great, great buy. Solid, feels good in the hand, and it looks good on the bench. You can't go wrong if you pick up the HYTALS TS98. I'm going to give this one of my highest ratings ever, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching this review, everyone. Stay tuned, lots more coming up. Till the next time, as always, keep on testing.